Hi, so on behalf of Reach, we wanted to put together a video series to help ease your transition into college. And we wanted to start with roommate experiences, where we asked a bunch of students to talk about how they found their roommates, etc., etc. And we hope this eases some of your fears coming into the dorming experience. So without further ado, good luck and go Bears.
So I actually found my roommates on the UC Berkeley class of 2023 Facebook page, and the other one was actually a random draw from Cal Housing. And overall, like, we coexisted very well with one another. Despite one of our roommates not being there as often, we were able to form very strong bonds. And I'm actually moving in to an apartment with one of the two roommates for the next year, so that's really good. And I think overall, it was a really great experience. I got to learn a lot about myself and what I value in a living space, as well as other people, and taking their time and space into consideration. I lived in a Clark Kerr triple premium, which is a lot bigger than a normal size dorm, or a normal triple dorm in, like, maybe say unit 1, 2, or 3. And it was a little bit far from campus, considering it was on the Clark Kerr campus, but it was definitely worth it. We all had our own, like, bed, and we didn't have to do, like, the whole bunk bed situation. And I think if I were to give any advice for future, like, bears in terms of housing, I would definitely say that you should be very real with your roommates in terms of what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with, and just to let them know if something's bothering you, because in the end, you all are sharing a single living space, so it's better if you can all have, the best out of it. All right, good luck.
Okay, so for me, I initially wanted a room with two other girls, but it was kind of difficult because I signed up for a theme program without actually going deep into looking up what that was. So I think my biggest advice for that would just be like to fully see whether or not you want to be a part of a theme program. And don't, because you have to put yourself completely a part of that. And even though I had a lot of fun, I think that a part of me would really want to room with their names are Nai and Mar. So the week before school started, I found out, or like not a week, but a little bit of time before that, before school started, I was able to get put into a random group of roommates, which was really nice, and they were like super nice too. But I think that I just had a lot more connection with the first two girls that I initially wanted to be with. Even though it didn't really work out for me on the room assignments, I actually really liked living in Unit 2, Cunningham, just because everyone was so nice, and like it didn't feel like I was going to a new school, especially because it was so big and how I'm originally from SoCal, so moving to NorCal was really scary for me as well. So my biggest advice from this would just be to fully delve deep into your research on what the theme program is overall, and debate whether or not you truly want to be a part of it, because at the same time it's also a lot of work. For me, I was in APATH, and APATH was a 2-semester course, which is a good thing because it was a letter grade, so that is a GPA booster as well. And I really liked the class too, but towards the beginning I really dreaded it, and I thought that I wanted to quit. But you do meet a lot of nice people there, and I think it's really worth it. But yeah, just the takeaway is just be 100% sure that you really want to do it.
So I'd recommend, as much as you can, try to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, because I know it really helped me grow as a person, and I think it's very useful outside of just your living situation. If you decide to live on campus in the dorms and the residence halls, there's different packages and different plans, so you should probably look into that. I'd recommend looking into that if you want to go that route, because some do cost more than others, and some have different there are different pros and cons to each package, and so whichever suits you best and whichever is best for your situation, it's something that you should do some research into to know what you're getting into. Bye. Thanks. Illy, see your weekend.
So with my roommate experience, I live in Unit 2, specifically Toll, which is a mini suite. So mini suites, you have 2 rooms. Typically, it's either a double and a double or a triple and a double, and they share a bathroom. So I live in a mini suite triple, and I have suite mates that live in a double. So I share my dorm with 4 other people, and my 2 roommates, Kyle and Jeff, we're all from Sacramento. So I knew Kyle before Berkeley, and he knew Jeff, which is our 3rd roommate. So we all just chose each other, and I grew very close with my roommates. But sometimes it's difficult to live with friends or people in general because you really get to know what kind of person they are. I didn't have a bad experience, but it could have been better. And there were a lot of times where my roommates and my suite mates didn't really communicate about how they felt with the whole living situation. But communication is very important when you're living with people. If you feel a certain way regarding your living situation, whether it's a small issue or not, you should always communicate with the people you're living with.
Find my roommates. So I had 2 roommates. My first one was actually my friend from back when I played soccer with him when we were about 13, 14 years old. That's how we met. We didn't know we were both going to get into Berkeley, but once we found out that we did, we immediately made each other roommates. For my second roommate, my friend actually knew him from another UC Berkeley event where they met and linked up and got to know each other pretty well. So I was like, it's totally fine to have him on board. The more the merrier. So yeah, that's how that happened. How did it go? I think my experience with my roommates went pretty well. We all respected each other's spaces and properties. We didn't argue with each other. We came to a lot of compromises and conclusions together. And I think overall, the year for me went pretty smoothly. Where did I live? I lived in Unit 3 Priestley, which is one of the oldest dorms on campus. And even though it's old, it's one of the closest dorms on campus as well. I enjoyed my experience there, and I was quite fond of living there as well.
I lived in a Unit 1 triple in Cheney. And I also lived on a single gender floor, which I think was something very important to know, because at the beginning I was very upset because I was like, I kind of wanted to get the full college experience of being like, ooh, co-ed floors, wow, how cool. But as I kind of went throughout the year, I realized that the single gender floor was better for me personally, just because it made me feel a lot more comfortable. This is just my personal experience, my personal preference, but it's just a space where I felt a lot more comfortable. My floor was also a lot quieter. Not a lot of people would be out late or be up late, kind of making a lot of noise or anything like that. It was very a reserved, quiet floor. And a lot of people kept their doors shut. I know that there's this thing about people keeping their doors open, but on my floor it was very quiet. But I honestly liked it because it made it a good environment to study in. Also, a lot of the girls on my floor were really, really smart. And so when I was able to talk to them, either in the bathroom or see them walking up and down the hall in the lounge, I was able to kind of get support in a lot of different subjects, which is very interesting. But I was able to create a lot of good, long-lasting friendships, just because we all felt very comfortable with one another. And so that's just something that I wanted to know from my experience. And also I didn't have to deal with having a co-ed bathroom. I know that that's very important for some people, and not important for other people, but for me personally, with my personal background and the kind of environment and space that I grew up in, it was too big of a contrast too suddenly, and so it kind of helped me a lot to kind of be comfortable and to take care of myself within my own space. And so yeah.
And yeah, so to start things off, I first met my roommate on Facebook after I joined our freshman year, incoming freshman batches group. And during the time, a lot of people were posting about how they were looking for roommates and where they wanted to live and how many people they wanted in a room. So my interests lined up with hers, and I hit her up, and the rest is history. We became roommates. And other than social media, such as Facebook and Instagram, there are other resources you can use towards finding a roommate. So the university itself offers several resources, such as the housing portal page, where you can fill out a questionnaire regarding questions about your lifestyle, your interests, your preferences, and they'll lump you with a group of people who share the same interests, preferences, lifestyles with you, and you can hit them up and ask if they'd be interested in rooming with you. So that's another resource you can use.
The dorm experience is a fun one. Do not take it for granted. Because of COVID-19, it was unfortunately taken away from me swiftly and painfully. But I hope that isn't the case for you. I hope that you're able to have a good and fun time, meet new people, be open-minded, and just continue to develop and grow as a person. So have fun at Cal, wherever you may end up. If you end up in Davidson, you're one of the lucky ones. Okay.